without the involvement of the US. Now, this is being reported by the TASS news agency, and it's quoting the Kremlin. Now, Vladimir Putin is expected to call President Trump within the coming days to congratulate him on taking office. Let's talk now to Stephanie Decker, our correspondent who's in Gaziantep. That's near Turkey's border with Syria. And Stephanie, we're talking to you specifically about this because, of course, we know that those talks in Astana are just a couple of days away, and that the new Trump administration has been invited to the talks. So interesting then that now the Kremlin is quoted as saying that no constructive solution to the Syria problem can be reached without the involvement of the United States.
That's correct, and we still haven't had official confirmation from the new administration whether they will attend or not. It is likely that they will send some form of a delegation to these talks because the US has been involved in this conflict for a long time. But yes, over the last year or so, certainly it has taken a back seat. It's been sidelined, and it's really Russia and Turkey that are taking the helm in this. So let's wait and see, even though we are hearing as well that no political transition will be discussed at these talks. It will be mostly about consolidating the existing ceasefire that has been in place for about a month and a half now. But yes, we've been speaking to Syrians in Turkey and also inside Syria about this new administration, and even though many people in general in the world are lamenting the exit of Obama and the entry of Donald Trump to the White House, for Syrians, they will tell you that the Obama administration actually did no good for them. So one person telling us, well, if this changes either way, for better or for worse, perhaps it'll push things along a little quicker. This is a war that is now in its 6th year. Another woman, Syrian woman here in Turkey, saying, well, we've been run by lunatics for a very long time, so she didn't really take seriously people concerned about what Donald Trump might do. But yes, that is still the question mark as to his policy, Martine, when it comes to Syria, when it comes to this region. No one really knows what line he is going to take.
And Steph, another important development today, we're hearing of the Russian port at Tartus in Latakia in Syria is now being extended in terms of the leasing arrangements for the Russians. Should we see this as reward for Russian support for the Syrian government?
I think that naval base has been there for decades, and this is one of the reasons why Russia intervened in this war. Yes, of course, to support President Bashar al-Assad to a certain degree. Lavrov going as far to saying recently that had Russia not entered, Damascus would have fallen within the space of 2 to 3 weeks. But more importantly, if we cut through all the talk, it is they entered to safeguard their interests, and that is this naval base, and also they have an air base, Maim air base. They are also keeping that. So what they've agreed upon is to extend the lease by another 49 years. That can be extended for another 25, and I think more significantly, they've agreed to expand it. At the moment, it hosts probably a few mid-level ships. What we're being told is that this expansion, this modernization, as they're calling it, could hold up to 11 vessels. So I think this is interesting to see in the sort of wider changing region geopolitically, that this is going to happen. It's always had a presence there, it's solidifying its presence, and it's expanding it. So how that is going to be taken by the international community, we'll have to wait and see, but certainly they have had a presence in Syria for a very long time.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. Stephanie Decker there, live in Gaziantep. Now, the Gambia's former president, Yahya Jammeh, has finally agreed to step down. The new president, Adama Barrow, had to be sworn in the Senegalese capital because Jammeh's refusal to leave. Intense mediation efforts by the Guinean and the Mauritanian presidents appear to have resulted in his agreement to relinquish power. Now, pressure had been mounting on Jammeh after a West African army entered the country to remove him by force if necessary. And on Friday, he addressed the nation.
I have decided today, in good conscience, to relinquish the mantle of leadership of this great nation with infinite gratitude to all Gambians, women, children, youth, and men, and friends of the Gambia, who have supported me for 22 years in the building of a modern Gambia.
Ahmed Idris now has more from the Gambia-Senegal border.
The next move is, of course, to get Yahya Jammeh out of Gambia. This was stressed by the president, Adama Barrow. He said they can't have him there. It will be too distracting, and it will also be not good. He can come back later, but not now. He needs Yahya Jammeh to go out. So the next line of action for Adama Barrow is also to move into Banjul and take over the reins of power. Already the environment is getting better. The tension has lifted a little bit overnight since Yahya Jammeh made that broadcast. And people are trying to see whether he has moved out overnight or he's still in Gambia.
Now, an explosion in a crowded vegetable market in northwestern Pakistan has killed at least 20 people. Kamal Haider has more from Islamabad.
A bomb ripped through a busy vegetable market in Parachinar, close to the Afghan border, about 357 kilometers from Islamabad. The deadly blast is said to have claimed at least 20 killed, according to the security forces who were leading the relief operation. They said that they were moving the more critically wounded by helicopter to Peshawar for treatment, while others had been shifted to the combined military hospital in Parachinar. This is an area close to the Afghan border that has seen extensive clashes between Shia and Sunni over the past few years, and it is therefore possible that this may be a sectarian attack, although no one has so far claimed responsibility. The police saying that this was an explosive device which was hidden in a vegetable box and detonated by remote control.
Now, Turkey's parliament has approved constitutional reform plans that would extend President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's powers if endorsed in a national referendum. The proposal enables the president to issue decrees, declare emergency rule, appoint ministers and top state officials, as well as dissolve parliament. He could rule Turkey until 2029 if the referendum is in agreement. Opponents say if it's adopted, the constitutional bill would be a step towards an authoritarian state.
The state of law, the secular democratic republican regime is completely eradicated. They want to drag Turkey rapidly into a period of instability where there is no separation of powers, no balance and no control. If the public is well informed, the answer will be no.
Well, Turkey's Prime Minister, who backs the changes, says Turks will now decide.
We didn't change the constitution. We held a debate on the proposal of constitutional reforms. The people of Turkey will be changing the constitution.
Well, Sinem Koziolu, our correspondent in Istanbul, has more.
After 2 rounds of voting on the constitutional amendment package, Turkey is on the brink of switching from a parliamentarian system to a presidential one. The amendments on 18 articles in the new proposed package lets the president to be a member of a political party and to be able to chair that party. Also, the new package lends the executive power to the president. The major critic by the opposition on this amendment package has been on the possibility of vanishing of the checks and balances, where AK Party says checks and balances will always be there. As the second round of voting has been completed early this morning, this amendment package will be presented to the president this week. As soon as the Turkish president ratifies the package, it will be taken to a referendum where the Turkish nation will be saying the last word. The referendum is expected to take place around in April, and simply there should be a 51% of majority in the referendum.
A bus carrying Hungarian school children has crashed and caught fire in northern Italy. At least 16 people have died and dozens of injuries are reported following the motorway crash close to Verona. The bus was taking the students home from a school trip to France. 9 survivors have been found inside the Italian hotel, which was buried by an avalanche on Wednesday. The search continues for more than 30 others.